Howdy, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Friday Ramblings, and welcome to the last rambling of 2022. Before we sign this year away, we're going to take a look back at what this year was for the Roulette Productions channel and me, yourself, as host with the most. And I don't mean to boast. And yes, I occasionally eat toast. A little bit of rhyme time. So, 2022 was a bit of a big year for me. Without getting into too many personal details, but stuff that has been hinted around, especially if you follow me on Twitter, as that is the best way to keep track of all things Roulette Productions is on Twitter, as well as a reliable way to communicate with me, should you wish to do so. My longtime girlfriend and I decided to get married. Although the wedding itself has not happened yet, the proposal was made, and it was accepted. And of course, for those of you who look at the background, you notice that my recording area is different. That is because in the heart of setting myself up for a married life, we have moved locations. As like any good up-and-coming amateur, I do record out of a home office. The home has changed. New office. See how that goes. Woo. Besides that fact, your Roulette Productions behind-the-scenes manager and occasional on-screen guy himself, Jaime, has put together a year of ups and downs. We're not getting into too much of his personal business, but I will say, and this is part of why you haven't seen him on camera as much as you did in 2021 or previous years, is that he's had some health scares, but he's gotten through them and is still chugging along. Good for him. Don't know if I could really do this channel without him. As I said, he is the brains behind the scenes. But he is reasonably happy now that he's gotten through the worst of his health problems. So, good on him. Otherwise, from that, as I said, I really don't want to do too much. Neither one of us are big on delving a lot into personal drama, but you know, personal lives are on a uphill climb. Day jobs are still around, so hey, what else can you really ask from a year? Now let's break down some of what we presented to you this year on the Roulette Productions channel. Think of this as kind of a quick best of for those of you who have not been following the channel all year long and don't dip into our archives on a regular basis. A little bit of breakdown, because I know we're all planning our New Year's party plans, so we don't want to bog you down too much. We'll save the new content for the new year. Start the year off right with some good video gaming, as we discussed both Chrono Trigger and its 1.5 sequels, along with the pile of Kirby games. Because, hey, a guy who loves to eat everything in sight's a guy I can relate to. We also kept things holiday-rific, as Valentine's Day gave us the excuse to go over one of my all-time favorite manga, and that is Love Hina. Recommend this episode for any of you classic manga fans. Hey, can't always be the brand new hotness. You should always feel free to look at archives and the things that came before and inspired the hot young authors with the great new content. With that in mind, we also looked at some wrestling managers of yesteryear. I'm not going to tell you who made the list. You need to go watch the video. I will go ahead and say one of them is technically still in the business. Speaking of classic video games, we broke down Battletoads. While everybody knows the NES Classic, there were a few sequels and a crossover game. A lot of mean green on the scene. However, the biggest thing of it is we got into, as part of our extended Valentine's Day look, not just Love Hina, but one of the great couples of DC Comics, and that is Hawkman and Hawkgirl. Occasionally Hawkwoman. This would plant the seeds for what would become a big trend in 2022 for the Ramblings content, which is themed retrospectives. Every month giving you a little dose of something so we can spread the love around. After all, we discussed the Hawks. Why not Hawkman's old buddy Alan Scott? And where Alan Scott goes, so do his children. Well, now we're talking about multiple members of the Justice Society. Ideas were sprung. That's right. A series of articles that has taken us most of the year and concluded this month. Well, we got a little epilogue in January, but basically concluded this month. We covered a ton of Justice Society characters, specifically focusing on those who have had legacy identities. Of course, legacy identities being ones where, as one hero retired or passed on, others took up the name. We also took advantage of March to discuss the one-off novel by Raymond D. Feist, Fairy Tale. An excellent novel that examines what myths of Celtic origin would be like if they showed up in modern times. It is the fairies. If you like your fantasy novels that still involve the real world, check it out. We also let Marvel take a little bit of the legacy sides. We broke down all the Captain Marvels in a video, as well as spending an entire video focusing on my personal favorite Captain Marvel, Genus Vel, who after a long time of being presumed dead, was returned to comics as well this past year. Another theme month started up with the Disney Afternoon block. Again, it's run us through. Really, next month's going to be the tail end of it. But it did cover several videos. Good time watching. We also discussed, since we mentioned that Battletoad breakdown and that crossover, the franchise it crossed over with Double Dragon. Excellent. Always excellent. Saluted Larry Hama's favorite book with G.I. Joe. A book that he wrote originally for Marvel and then brought back with the same continuity for IDW, that is recently finished up as well. Got a little bit of beepy beeps. Ignore the beepy beeps. Computer's having fun on its own. Saluting a video, or sequelizing a video from ages back, where I discussed various lost films. This is not films about being lost, but films that nobody can find copies of, so nobody can actually watch or even archive. We know they exist. We have proof they existed. We just don't have any copies of the film. Well, this also happened for television, and that was what we did it in 2022. Breaking down shows that no longer exist, or shows that only exist in partial, in the case of the iconic Doctor Who, or things like various sporting events like the Super Bowl, in which the first few years were not well archived. Another theme month kicked in where we discussed various wrestling titles and their lineages. More video game franchises with Metroid, as well as our annual Halloween treat, which speaks for itself, 4 spooky videos. Check it out. We even have a special Halloween Ramblings playlist, so you can watch our playlists for many years, but I do recommend these last 4, as we cover a pretty wide expanse of decades of entertainment. We wrapped things up, besides with those ongoing themes, with a throwback to some of the legal videos we did in yesteryear, where we discussed Nintendo taking on Blockbuster. Is there anything else great in the rambling? Well, if not great, bittersweet. We did a few videos due to them being very recent passings, saluting creators that are no longer with us. First was George Perez, whose contribution to American comics I can't get into here. That's why we spent a whole video discussing it. George had been ill for quite some time and finally passed on early in the year. A few months later, Kazuki Takahashi, creator of the Yu-Gi-Oh! Meta franchise, died as well in what was originally seen as a simple drowning incident. It was later, as further investigations went in, shown that he drowned pushing himself to the limits, rescuing other swimmers. And so for this, we salute the truly heroic Kazuki Takahashi. These are videos that were very important for me, as both creators had given me a lot of personal entertainment. So I did have to make last-minute schedule changes to record those videos out of respect for these gentlemen. You will always be missed, and channels like ours will always be happy to remind people of your legacies and encourage you to read them, whether it's American or Japanese. Comics are awesome. This brings us to the Let's Play side of things. Yep, because I do, of course, have my gaming channel side. We played some classic NES Mario with Mario Brothers 2 and 3. Because it was February 2nd, 2022, we played Street Fighter 2. A few variants of it. We went turtle crazy, picking up on the fact that I played a few turtle games in previous years. We continued that trend with the NES ports of both Ninja Turtles arcade games and a smattering of Game Boy Advance Ninja Turtle games. Yep. Between previous years and 2022, my Ninja Turtles playlist is pretty retro extensive. There's a few we still haven't played, but we may get to those in 2023. You'll have to watch and find out. We also broke into the Adventure Island craze, as we covered a whole slew of Adventure Island games over the span of a month. Classic Fire Emblem fans can watch me suck at Thracia 776. In remembrance of Kazuki Takahashi, we played Yu-Gi-Oh! Classic game that I've owned for many years. So we spent a night playing it in honor of the man that gave us Yu-Gi-Oh! We polished off the Capcom Beat 'em Up collection with with the final 3 games in the set, before breaking into Pokemon Blue, which we have not yet finished, but we will go back to in 2023. Before tackling a fan improvement of the infamous NES Ghostbusters game, and starting our Resident Evil 0 playthrough, which is going to be concluding probably right about the time you see this video. I don't know, may go through and do some of the bonus game modes, but it was a game so wonderful. Hey, what can I say? We just kept playing it even after the Halloween season ended. Good times, folks, good times. And of course, we also, towards the end of our gaming season here, played Rampage World Tour, an N64 follow-up to the arcade 80s classic Rampage. Big mutated critters wrecking cities all over the world. Always fun times when you need a simple game to shut off your brain. All in all, it's been a good year. Put out some good content for the channel. We had good personal lives going. We've got new subscribers. And for those new subscribers, I say welcome. Thank you. And keep watching in 2023, because we're going to keep giving you the stuff you subscribe to check out. I know this video is a little short, but as I said, this is kind of our wrap up to the year. So we wanted to take it a little easy and just mellow out, chill out, kind of ease into 2023. So I'm going to go ahead and sign off, but don't despair, because I'll always be back every Friday. Check it out. Of course, as I mentioned before, subscribe if you haven't already. Make sure to click your notification bell, so every time a new video drops, whether it's Friday or the Tuesday game streams, you can check it out. We have a variety of playlists covering our archive of videos from not just 2022, but the previous years. We've been making content for the channel, so check those out. If you haven't watched every video on the channel, you should. Watch every video. They're great. It's good times. But until I see you for another rambling, as always, stay happy, stay healthy, and remember, it's just entertainment. Don't let it get you angry. If it disappoints you, okay, you're allowed to feel that, but move on and go find entertainment you enjoy. Because you don't want to spend your whole year feeling bad. Entertainment is meant to entertain. So if it's not doing it for you, go find something that will. You can see my... There we go. Woo! Trying to do that backwards is tough. But you can see my closet of souvenirs, highlighting a little bit of the stuff that entertains me. And that's why we keep doing this, because so much brings me joy. And I want to share it with all of y'all. Happy New Year. I'll be here next time and next year. Bye-bye.